Hello, Taurus sisters. I'm Amy. Thank you for joining me on my podcast today. Today's episode is I'm going to answer a really common question I've been getting lately, and that is, Amy, how do you make your t-shirts that you sell? So if you're looking to sell t-shirts or mugs or shoes or all kinds of items, and you want to know how I'm selling my t-shirts, this podcast episode is for you. I'm going to spill the beans and tell you how I do it. Or maybe you already have a business, but you maybe want to add more products to your lineup. This podcast might help you. I might give you some ideas that you have never thought of before. And hopefully this will shorten the curve for you, because a lot of people these days are thinking about making t-shirts. T-shirts are really, I feel like they're more trendy than ever right now, especially t-shirts with little sayings and little pictures and things. And it's not hard at all. I can teach you how to do this in one podcast. I can give you plenty of information to get you running, to get you started so that you know where to go. I can give you some shortcuts, cut out some of the pain that I went through learning this over the years, because now I'm to the point where I'm decent at it. Like, I'm making sales and I'm selling t-shirts and you guys are loving them. And I have so many ideas for more. I just can't get them out of my brain as fast as they get downloaded into my brain. And it's super fun, and it can be profitable, and it can help you. The sky is the limit with this. If all you want is a little bit of grocery money, you can get a little grocery money selling t-shirts. If you want to go much bigger than that, you can go much bigger than that. And this method is so terrific. So if you want to know, I'm going to talk about some links and some tools in this episode. So just listen to me for now, maybe take some notes. And then when this is done, go to TaurusSisters.com/business. So if you go to my website, TaurusSisters.com, you'll see a link on the menu that says business. That is where I'm going to put everything that we talk about in these business podcasts. I'm going to do more of these. We're going to talk about business and making money a lot, because times are tough right now, and we're all looking for a little extra grocery money. And so I love to talk about this stuff. I love to teach, and I can hopefully give you some ideas and some pointers and things. And so I'm going to put links there. And the 3 tools that we're going to talk about today are linked on that website. And on that page, the business page, those links are affiliate links. That means when you click on those, and they have a free version, but if you end up wanting the paid version of any of that stuff, that company will pay me a little commission. It costs you nothing extra. But if you do that, that helps me out a lot, because I'm going to give you a lot of information for free. And I want to be generous with the information I give. So if you want to bless me back by using that affiliate link, I appreciate it, but you don't have to. It's there for you just so you know what tools I'm using, whether you want to click that link or do it yourself. That's up to you, but thank you. All right, so the method I'm using is called print on demand. And even if you already know about this, you can listen. Maybe I'll share some new tidbit, and maybe you can share something with me, because there's so many possibilities with this business. So many. I'm always hearing and loving new ideas. And so let me know. You can leave comments wherever you see this. But it's called print on demand. And what that means is when someone orders a t-shirt on my website, I have it all set up, and I'll tell you how to do this, so that the t-shirt printing company prints the t-shirt, and then sends it to my customer. And I never have to touch the t-shirt. I make a design, I upload it to my system. We'll call it I'll teach you how, but for now I'm going to call it a system. I make a design, I upload it to the system, I set it all up, and then I never have to touch that again, unless one of my customers has a question or needs help, which is very rare. So that's how easy this is. Now, are there other ways to sell t-shirts? Of course. And some of the other ways are probably more profitable. So if you're really, really looking and you really feel the Father is telling you to start a huge t-shirt business, then maybe you're someone who wants to print your own t-shirts in your house. You want to buy the blanks, you want to buy the machine, and do it in your house and have a basement full of a t-shirt business. You can make more money that way, for sure. But I do not have the upfront costs to do that, and I definitely don't have the time, and I definitely don't have the space to do that. So I would rather make less money, but make it in a way that's easier and more manageable for me, than to make more money but never get to that making money point because I don't have the space and I don't have the upfront cost for the equipment and the blanks. Does that make sense? So everybody's situation is different. There's a million in business. There are a million ways to do the same thing. You talk to 100 people, they're all going to probably run their t-shirt business slightly different. But people have been asking me, Amy, how do you do it? Maybe that's something I can do. Maybe I can sell t-shirts. How much money are you making? Which I will never tell that, but they want to know. So I'm just going to tell you how Amy does it. And this is how. This is why I love print on demand, because I don't have to touch the t-shirt. I can keep, you guys know I'm juggling so many things, both in my business and homeschooling my kids, being a single mom. I don't have time to create t-shirts. So that's why I'm using print on demand. Maybe someday that'll change. I don't know. And things always change, don't they? So keep in touch with this podcast, because when I find new tools that I love, I will podcast about them. I'll tell you about them. We'll talk about these things. There's so many possibilities out there to work from home, or to make money, or to have your own business. Some of them cost a little money, but a lot of them, like this method, do not. And we're going to talk about those over time, because I'm really a big cheerleader of women working from home if we need to. And men too. Men can listen to this podcast too, because we're talking business here. So the 3 tools I use are, and first of all, don't think that there's not room for competition. Don't say to yourself, oh, Amy's already making t-shirts. I guess I can't make t-shirts. That's silly. There's plenty of room for competition. Now, if 400 of us or 1,000 of us all of a sudden start making t-shirts for the Hebrew niche, that might get a little bit much. But even then, if you feel called to do it, you better do it. If the Father's telling you to make a t-shirt that says Happy Sabbath, you better make a t-shirt that says Happy Sabbath. Who am I to tell you not to? There's more and more Torah keepers coming in all the time, and they love this stuff. I mean, we like to wear our faith, right? And it gets people talking and asking questions. So go for it. But don't just think, in the Hebrew faith niche. Branch out. We'll talk about this in a minute, but there's a lot of other kinds of t-shirts you can make that'll probably make you a lot more money, because the Hebrew faith niche, while there's a lot of us, there still aren't that many of us. So if you really want to go big, you're going to want to branch out, and we'll tell you about that. I'll tell you more about that, and also other places that you can sell. So the 3 tools I use on that business page are Canva. The first one is Canva. It is a website for graphic design, and it is for beginners. You do not have to be a graphic designer to do this t-shirt thing. You do not have to be an artist to do this t-shirt thing. Canva will do everything you need to do to design a really sharp looking t-shirt that you can sell. A lot of t-shirts that you see out and about that catch your eye, see, start paying attention now. When you're out and about and a t-shirt catches your eye, think, what made that catch my eye? Even if you hate the message, did you stop long enough to read the shirt? And sometimes these shirts are just text. There's no picture, there's nothing fancy, it's just straight text. So if you can spell, then you can make t-shirts. A lot of t-shirts are just words, no picture at all, and the words aren't even fancy. They're just typed out plain Jane words. You can make t-shirts like that. Look in my store, some of my shirts are plain like that, but people love them because sometimes a simple message is very concise and it grabs people's attention and they can read it very quickly and very easily. So this business, if you want to try it, I think it can be for everyone. So Canva is fantastic. They have tons and tons of videos on their YouTube channel and helps. Always, when you need help, always look for the question mark and click it and start asking questions and searching their database for how do I do this? How do I make this bigger? How do I make this yellow? Or how do I do this? So Canva has a million features. You can learn to use them and you can go to their, I love Google. When I need to learn how to do something, I go to Google. Canva is so terrific. There are whole entire blogs about how to use Canva, plus Canva's blog. So Fantastic program. I love it. Now, are there other programs that you can use? Of course. You could use Photoshop, PicMonkey, GIMP, all kinds of things. I use Canva. I love it. And I don't know how to use those other ones even. Maybe someday I'll prefer those more. But right now, I am preferring Canva. And they keep adding more features. They do have a free version that I think will get you by for doing t-shirts. I think that will be sufficient for you. And then later down the road, if you want more bells and whistles, you can use the paid version. So go check out Canva if you don't already have a tool. The next tool I use to make t-shirts and to sell t-shirts is my Shopify store. You know, I used to have my store on my website, directly on my WordPress website, and that worked actually really well, but there were some downsides. So I, about a year ago, switched to using Shopify. So now when you go to TorahSisters.com, you click on the shop link. That actually links technically to another website, and it's Shopify. Shopify is an e-commerce platform, and they let me use a little corner of their platform to call it Torah Sisters and to run my store on their platform. And I think they have a 30-day free trial, which you should totally use. And then I think after that, I think it's $29 a month, but don't quote me because prices change all the time. So, but it's not a lot. And to me, it is worth every penny. So Shopify will do a ton of what you want. It will run the shipping. It will calculate taxes if you need to. It'll take the credit cards. You can hook it up to your PayPal also if you want. Most of my customers use checkout with credit card or debit card using the Shopify payments. And of course, you know, they keep the transaction fees for that and stuff. And you can upload pictures and just tons. Like the shell of Shopify will do just about everything you could ever want. But wait, there's more. So within the shell of Shopify, you can add in other apps. Shopify, there's hundreds of third-party apps that you can add to your Shopify store, and then it will give your store some new bell or whistle. So I added an app called Printify, and that is from a company called Printify. And I know it gets confusing. Shopify is the store, Printify is the print-on-demand company. So Printify has its own website and everything else, but they make this app for Shopify so that the two platforms can talk to each other. And that's where the cool thing happens, where when my customers order a t-shirt, the order gets sent automatically to Printify, and they print it and ship it to my customer, and I never have to touch it because I have this set up between those two platforms. It is the most glorious thing ever. I just love this. And let's keep talking. I'll just keep telling you more about it because I think it's so cool. Now, Printify is a print-on-demand company, and there are lots of them. It is not the only one. So if you want to shop around, of course, shop around. I'm not telling you have to use Printify. And there's other ones with apps that hook up to Shopify. Printful is one. I used to use for a while, I used to use Teespring, but I don't think that hooks up. Zazzle used to be popular. I don't even know what other ones are proper. I think there's an Oberlo. But I like Printify, and I've been using Printify for several months now. Printify, you'll see, not only sells t-shirts, but you can also do print on demand with mugs, coffee mugs, water bottles, beach towels, even shoes, shorts, hoodies. You guys know I have hoodies in my store, even posters. If you go to my store and you look for the Spring Feast, you see the Counting the Omer poster. That's done print on demand. The exact same way I do my t-shirts is how I do that Counting the Omer poster. Also, if you go to my store, you see greeting cards now. Sukkot greeting cards, those are print on demand. Now, could I do those in-house? Now, my postcards that I sell, I do those in-house. I actually keep a pile of those in my house. I get them from a local printer here in Lansing, a whole bunch of them, and then I mail them myself. So that's the postcards. But the greeting cards, the ones that fold open and they come with envelopes in packs of 8, those are coming from Printify, and I don't touch those. And why the difference? Well, with the postcards, that's a monthly subscription, so I know kind of about how many to order every month. But with greeting cards, let's say I want to sell, and I looked into this. I was like, okay, I want to sell greeting cards. If I want to buy greeting cards to keep in stock here at my house, that's going to cost me a lot. And if you don't know this, buying inventory to sell costs hundreds or thousands of dollars. And I was like, all right, well, I can maybe afford a couple designs. Well, that's not very many designs to offer. And I just kept coming back to print on demand. Now, if I sold them in-house, I could probably make more money. I could keep more profit that way because, again, you don't have to pay that print on demand company to do the printing one by one. That's a somewhat expensive process. But then you have to pay hundreds of dollars up front, and I just can't do it. So either I do print on demand or I don't sell greeting cards. And I decided to do print on demand, and it just means I don't make as much profit on each item because I still have to keep the price fair. I mean, I could raise the price, but then they're not going to sell anyway. So I keep the price fair, and I just don't make as much money. But you know what? It's okay because I don't touch the product. Someone orders a set of greeting cards. The order gets sent directly to Printify, and Printify sends it to my customer, just like the t-shirts. And then I can have you guys can see right now I have 8 different greeting cards, and I might add more because I just love making stuff. So the sky is the limit with how many products you can offer in your store, because once you design it, you don't have to touch it again. This system is so nice and hands off once you get it set up. And I admit, sometimes the setting up can be a headache. Don't give up. There's no faster, cheaper way to get started selling t-shirts than this. And if you give up because you're frustrated just with, oh, it didn't work the first time, this is too hard, I quit, I wouldn't even be selling t-shirts, because sometimes there's a glitch. Sometimes you forget to check a box or something. You know what? Just ask for help. Always look for that question mark or the help button. And these places, I will tell you, I'm not recommending to you places that are junk. Shopify, the e-commerce, they have answered my tickets. It's called a ticket when you send an email asking for help. They have answered my tickets within hours and helped me. Not just said, hello, we hear you. No, they helped me within hours. Printify, even faster. Even faster. Within an hour or two, Printify most of the time has answered and fixed my problems. And I've had problems. Like these things, there's always a learning curve when it's new. The big shortcut I'm giving you is so that if you don't even know where to start. So I didn't use Printify first. I used some other print-on-demand drop shippers, and I didn't like them a lot. So I'm not even going to recommend those to you. I'm cutting out all of that headache of figuring out which companies to use, which tools work well. But you still have to do the work of setting it up. And it's going to take a little bit. It'll take you a couple days or longer. I don't know how many hours a day you have to invest in it. But definitely within a week, I think you could have a t-shirt up for sale. Faster if you don't have kids and don't have another job. Much faster. Within a day probably if you're good on the computer. So that's how easy this is, but you have to stick with it. You can't throw your hands up in the air and give up. And you know what? It just depends. Yeah, well, I mean, let's be honest. It depends on how much you need the money. If you really need the money, you're going to stick with it and work hard. Just take a deep breath, pray, ask for wisdom and guidance. And if it never works out, maybe the Father doesn't want you to do this. Maybe your motives are wrong. Maybe the niche you're going into is not honoring to Him. So analyze what you're doing through Scripture, but then keep trying hard. If you think it's within this great big freedom of His will, then go for it. But don't get frustrated and give up. Okay, that was a little pep talk on the side. So Printify, you can use and print on tons and tons of products. So you're going to hook the Printify app up to your Shopify store, log in, everything like that. And I said if you get the free account, a t-shirt might cost like $15 on the Printify free account. You don't have to pay until someone buys a shirt. And so a shirt might cost you $15. And when someone buys a shirt, Shopify is going to take, let's say you charge the customers $25 for a shirt. Shopify is going to take that customer's $25. Shopify is going to keep the transaction fees, which is like, I don't know, it's like 30 cents plus 1.9% or something like that. And then Shopify will put the remainder, so let's say $23.50, into your balance within Shopify. And Shopify pays me out. I have it set up. It pays me out every single day. Whatever balance was there, I think from 2 days ago or yesterday, it pays out very, very quickly. Printify, then, you'll get that all set up with your PayPal, I think, or maybe directly to your checking. I can't remember. But Printify, when they get the order for the t-shirt and when they send it to production, they will take the $15 that it costs right out of like my PayPal. They take it right out. So if you don't, you have to know that ahead of time, that there will be about a 1 or a 2 day lag between when Printify takes their money and when you get the money that the customer paid you. So, I mean, but that's okay usually. If you're starting small, you can cover it. But you just have to plan ahead. And if you don't have your PayPal hooked up to like your checking account or whatever, then you just have to have, put $100 in your PayPal account to cover a few orders. And just keep an eye on it. And if you don't have enough in there, Printify will send you an email and let you know this order is on hold. What do you want to do? We can't get your money, so we can't produce it. They will let you know. So you have to be checking your email every day if you're going to run a business, right? But they make it very obvious, and you can have this all run automatically, or if you want, you can do it more manually. I could set this up where maybe every night before I go to bed, I check all the orders that came in for the day and I run them. I said, yep, submit this order to production. Yes, submit this one, knowing that it's going to then take those payments from my account because I have to pay them to make the t-shirt, the $15 for the t-shirt. But I don't want to do that. I want these things to go as fast as possible. Customers are excited to get their t-shirts. So I have it automatic and I just make sure I have enough in my PayPal account to cover the difference. And then real quick, I get the money back from Shopify anyway, direct deposit into my checking account, my business checking account. So the whole system for me is working wonderfully. Now, you might be thinking, oh, a t-shirt, they charge $15 for a t-shirt. That's not very much profit. And then, if you can do shipping however you want. You can charge the customer for shipping and that all happens automatically. So in my store, it's all that shipping cost. So when you buy the Counting the Omer poster or a t-shirt or the greeting cards, any of my print-on-demand products from Printify, that shipping is calculated from Printify. Those are the exact costs that Printify charges. And again, Printify charges me that money. And then, I don't know, you can learn more about how it works, but it just all runs through the same system that I described for paying for the t-shirts. Or you can turn off that Printify calculated shipping and you can just give free shipping. And if you need to, you can roll that cost into the cost of your t-shirts, which you see people, anytime a company is offering free shipping, they're rolling the cost into the t-shirt. And I understand now why they do that. It's so much simpler and sometimes it can save the customers a lot of money. So there's that option too. But you still might be thinking, okay, if the t-shirts cost $15, that doesn't leave a lot of room for profit. And that's how I started. And I was having that problem too. I wasn't making very much on the t-shirts, which is okay. But, if you really want to go somewhere and still be competitive, here's what Printify can do. You can buy a premium membership at Printify that I think also costs $29 a month. And with that, you get better pricing. They'll give you their premium pricing. So then the t-shirts might cost $8 or $9 or $10 a piece, depending on what shirt you get or choose. Or a hoodie, of course, is going to cost more, but you get much better pricing, and then your profit margins are much bigger. So only you can decide when you're ready to go to the premium level of Printify. If you're just starting out and you do not have any startup money, then just use the free version. It's better to sell 50 shirts and make $2 profit each than to never get started. So don't give up. Don't say, oh, I can't afford the premium like Amy does, so I'm just only going to make $2. That's not even worth it. I disagree, because eventually you will be able to afford the premium, hopefully, if you're selling t-shirts. And you can scale up, and it doesn't cost you anything else, and it doesn't take any more of your work. Once you upload the design, you get it hooked up, it all runs automatically. So what's the harm? What does it hurt to only make $2 on a t-shirt? Go for it. I think that's how I started for a while, until I switched up to the Printify Premium. Because I know you're thinking, and they do, all these little costs add up. I hate monthly costs for all these things. I hate it. And they're like nickel and diming us to death. $29 a month for the Shopify, and then $29 a month for the Printify Premium. And if you've already been listening to my podcast, you know that the number one tool I recommend is the Flowdesk email marketing, and that's around $20 a month. But so I guess if you really want to start this, I would pay for the Flowdesk and the Shopify and get the free Printify. So you're at about $50 a month, and then just work your tail off that first month to recoup that $50, to sell enough t-shirts that you recoup that $50. So that's what I would do. And that's how I started this. I mean, you guys have watched me grow this, and I'm still growing, hopefully, Yah willing. And so that's what I would do if I were flat broke and only had $50 to invest and start up. And I think that's all you need, because you can use the free version of Canva too. I think it's so exciting. I hope so many of you do this. And there's more to say. So now there are other places and ways to do this. So let's say you can't afford the Shopify. You can do print on demand with probably even a Wix account. I don't know that they will talk to each other, but you can go into, so let's say you could do this even on Facebook. So let's say you make a t-shirt, you go to printify.com and you design a t-shirt. Well, you design it in Canva, you upload the image into Printify, and you have this shirt now. And you can get pictures from Printify of your shirt for sale. It's called a mock-up. Let's say you put that on your Facebook page. And then you can just say, message me if you want to buy this. I mean, like really old school. And then you can send them a PayPal invoice. And when you get their money, then you can go to Printify and you can place the order for them. It's more manual, but you still don't have to make the shirt. All you're doing is getting the money and then typing in their information, their shipping address and what size and what color and things like that into Printify. And you can do it manually if you can't afford the Shopify store. Absolutely can work. And I bet you could do it on Wix too, because you can get the pictures from Printify and then you can put it into a blog post even. There's a lot of ways to do this on a budget. Another thing you can do, and are you ready for this? I did not used to know that you could do this. You can do this on Etsy. My Etsy store, all those t-shirts on my Etsy store are hooked up to Printify. It's all automatic. Now, Etsy does have a little bit of a cost, right? There's a listing fee for every listing. I think it's 20 cents. So that's not much. And the nice thing about Etsy is that you could then put a bunch of items in Etsy and then take that Etsy link to your store and put that on your Shopify or on your Facebook page and say, hey, come to my Etsy store and shop my t-shirts or my sweatshirts or whatever. So that's another way to do this without needing the Shopify store. And I'm using Shopify and I'm using Etsy. And Etsy is fantastic because it's this huge search engine of people looking to go shopping. It's fantastic and this is totally legit. I know Etsy used to be really handmade stuff, but they consider these graphic design because it's unique. It's one of a kind. It's made by you. So this is totally okay with Etsy. And that's why they allow their platform to communicate with Printify and probably other print-on-demand platforms as well. So I have my Printify account set up where I have two stores. One is my Shopify store and one is my Etsy store. And you guys all know I give better deals at my Taurus Sister store. um, but I have things on Etsy and sometimes I put them on sale. And sometimes other nice thing for me about Etsy is that I think people who are keeping Torah but they don't know anybody yet, they might go on Etsy and look for like a Yeshua shirt or something, and then they can find me and other groups and ministries that sell t-shirts and stuff, and then hook up and know, oh, there's other people out there doing this Torah thing. And that has happened, and it's pretty special when the Father uses Etsy to show people, oh, there's other people out there. Here's community for you. So Etsy is also kind of like outreach in a weird way. But so there's that, and we can make a whole nother podcast about Etsy because there's some tips and tricks there too that can help you be more successful. But this is plenty to get you started, just to know that you can do print on demand. And like even those Counting the Omer posters, those are on Etsy too, because once I make that design once, I may as well have it be in my Etsy store and my Shopify store. Why not, right? It's so cool. So let's talk about niches. A niche is like a category of stuff. So, of course, my niche, I guess I hate to call it a niche, but the community I guess I'm targeting is ladies who keep Torah and love Yeshua. So people who do the faith walk like us. So that's my niche. Now, there's other niches. And if you want to join that niche, okay, fine. Like I said, there's always room for more. But don't, I don't think any of us are ever going to make a ton of money in that niche because it's a smaller niche. We're a unique, set apart, smallish for now group of people. But don't stop there, especially with Etsy. When you have this huge audience of people looking for t-shirts, you can sell all kinds of t-shirts. You can sell cat t-shirts or lizard t-shirts or golfing t-shirts or golfing t-shirts for dads or all kinds of stuff. And if you go to Etsy and you search for any of those, you know what you're going to find? Hundreds of listings of golf t-shirts for dads. And you know what I say? So what? Join in and do it better. Do a neater, funnier design or a more simpler design sometimes sells better. And sometimes just having the right words in your title. Use all the spaces in there for your title. Use all the keyword spots that they give you. Make sure that if people search for golf shirts for dad or Father's Day dad golfing shirts or whatever different words they use, that you've put those in your title. You've put those in your description. You've placed those in the keywords. And so your listing is going to show up. Even though there's hundreds of people selling golf shirts for dads, yours might show up. And that's how Etsy works. That's how it works. And it is a very cool thing. And so if you really want to go big with this, there are people, you probably know this, who sell thousands of different shirts with print on demand on Etsy. And maybe most of them probably don't sell very many. But sometimes, let's say you have literally 1,000 shirts on Etsy, even 100. Let's say you have 100 shirts on Etsy and 2 or 3 or 5 of them really take off and you sell hundreds of those couple 3, you can make some money doing that. But you have to list a ton of shirts to find which ones people just love. And those ones will bring home the turkey bacon, so to speak. So that's how people do this on Etsy, which I never understood that, but now I do. I've learned that recently. So that's how that goes, and anybody can join in. You might want to. You can open more than one Etsy shop. I think you need a new account, but they don't care if you open more shops. So you could have one shop for coffee mugs. You could have another shop for T-shirts. You could have another shop for towels. So maybe you have a design that says a golfing shirt for dad, and that design really took off and you sold 50 of those t-shirts. Well, something really is awesome about that. Turn it into a mug. Turn that same design, because it's a picture, right? You can make the picture then a different size and put that same picture onto a beach towel and onto a sweatshirt and you can make more money like that without much more work. And in Printify, it will tell you where you go to edit your design, it will tell you what size your canvas needs to be, how many pixels, and then of course you just have to export it as a transparent high resolution ping. So, and then you just might have to change the size of that image to fit on a smaller coffee mug. But Printify tells you those sizes for each item. So do you see how this can be really scaled up? There's people who just spend a little bit of time every night after work. They have a day job and they come home and they have a goal. Maybe they put up 5 new designs every night, or even just 2 new designs every night. By the end of the year, they might have 1,000 listings on Etsy in all different kinds of niches, and they start making money. Real good money doing that, and kudos to them. Now, of course, there's some niches as believers we're going to stay away from. We're not going to, you're not going to ever see me making a Christmas shirt or a Disney shirt or some other thing. So, whatever your conviction is on different things, but, if it's not dishonoring to God, make a cat shirt. Who cares? That's fun. So, do you see how this can just really change your life if you really work hard? And maybe you don't want your whole life to change, but you want some grocery money, you can do that too. And the nice thing about Etsy is that the shoppers are there already. If you guys know it already, if you tried selling anything, one of the hardest things is getting eyeballs on your offer. So go back and listen to my podcast about email marketing, because that's what that's all about, is getting customers to see. Look what I do, right? When I have a new t-shirt, I tell you about it. How do I tell you about it? In my emails. So, because I know you guys aren't just like going to my store every day. Does Amy have a new shirt? That would be so weird. I tell you about it. And if it catches your eye, that's awesome. Printify has some canned, out of the box mock-ups. I'm going to give you a really big tip right here. You ready? You ready for a huge tip? Their mock-ups are okay, but you can do better. And if you look at the image in my t-shirt store of like the first eye-catching image, that's a mock-up that I made in Canva, and I get those mock-up backgrounds. Well, there's different ways to do it, but you can get them on Etsy. So the t-shirt I use in Printify, my favorite t-shirt that you guys all love, because there's different brands of t-shirts, is the Bella Canvas 3001. That's Bella Canvas 3001. It's a very soft, very nice t-shirt. The solid color ones are 100% cotton, and they're unisex. They truly fit men and women equally well. And you can go to Etsy and you can search for Bella Canvas 3001 mock-ups, and there you go. You can go crazy. That is a huge tip that I just gave you. It will save you tons of time in making a mock-up in Canva. So you can buy that download. You download it, upload it to Canva, put your transparent t-shirt design on top of it. And again, if you don't know how to do that, go to YouTube. You can learn all these things in YouTube. How to make a mock-up with a flat lay or something like that on YouTube. And then export it, and then you add that into your store or into your Etsy store, and that's your initial image that's eye-catching. I don't say it must be beautiful, but the canned ones are not the ones that catch people's eye. If you've ever gone to Etsy and looked for shirts, it's the ones that have a nice, I don't even know the word, eye-catching, that's just the best word, eye-catching mock-up for their first photo. One thing you should know about print on demand is you have to decide how you want to handle refunds and returns. And if you look on my website, you can see I do not take refunds and returns unless there's something wrong with the shirt that they got. And here's the reason. Printify will not give you a refund unless there's something wrong with the shirt. And that has happened. I got myself, because I buy the shirts for myself too, and one of them had some marks on the sleeve, and so I put in a ticket to Printify, and I said, here, and they said, send us a picture. So I sent them a picture of the marks on the sleeve, and they're like, oh, yep, that's not right. They said, do you want a refund or do you want a new shirt? And that's, I think there was one other time when that happened with a customer. Something was wrong with her shirt. And so that's how that works. But if I say to Printify, oh, my customer got her shirt and it's too big, Printify will say, well, she could buy another one, but we can't give you a refund. And the reason is because it has a design on it that they can't use. They can never use that shirt again. It's print on demand. They don't have a warehouse full of my Taurus Sister shirts. So they don't give refunds for that. Now, I then, as the seller, can choose what I want to do. I can have a policy where, I don't have to get into this too much right now, but shipping, is not cheap for individuals these days. So I don't even have them ship it back to me. I just say, there's no refunds unless there's something wrong with the shirt. Like it's stained or it's ripped or something. I don't know what could be wrong with it. But just because it doesn't fit right, I don't give refunds for that. Now, but I want to be fair. As Torah keepers, we have to be fair. And so I make it very clear how to pick the size shirt that they want, because I want them to love their shirts, right? I don't want to surprise them with a shirt that doesn't fit the way they expect. So I want them to know exactly what to expect, because I think I owe them that. And so if you look at my listings, and you can buy these on Etsy, look for a size guide for Bella Canvas 3001. And ta-da! You're just going to love this. I'm giving you tips that took me, you'd be surprised at how long it took me to figure some of this stuff out, even though it seems so obvious now. But we're busy, right? We're distracted with things. So I'm just helping you laser focus, quick start, get your t-shirt business up and running. But search for size guide for the Bella Canvas 3001 or whatever shirt you're doing, and chances are Etsy has a size guide for it. You can also and I make sure it's in the description, and I also make sure people know my refund policy. If I'm not going to give refunds for sizing problems, people need to know that ahead of time, or it's not fair of me. So I want to run my business in a way that honors Torah, honors God, and is fair, and generous when necessary too. And the Torah sisters know I'm generous when I can be as well. So those are important principles. So consider your refund policy. And when it comes to pricing your shirts, this is one of the last things I'll talk about. Don't think that you have to have the lowest price to get the sale. I can vouch for the fact that you do not. And there's been several times where I have one of the highest prices on this or that, either in my store or on Etsy, but because it's unique, or because it says something that really strikes a chord with them, or they can't get it anywhere else, or sometimes I think just to bless me, people buy it, and I'm grateful for that. Sometimes, no, I just don't try to be the lowest price. Part of the problem with that is that you're not going to bear much fruit for your efforts. And again, we've talked about how there's not a lot of work required with print on demand, but you do have to get some ROI on your time. Another problem with that is it just kind of brings down the whole industry. I recommend you just go middle of the road pricing. That's kind of what I do. I do some research, who's selling similar items, who's the low, what's the high, and I look at a few, and then I just kind of go in the middle. Or maybe I make it a little higher and I run lots of sales. So there's different ways to do it, but don't feel like, especially on Etsy, don't feel like you have to be the lowest one, because those listings where you search for, let's say you search for a golfing cat t-shirt, and a listing shows up that says $4.50. That is very misleading. If you actually click on that listing, you can see that it's like the baby onesie that's $4.50. But an adult large t-shirt is $25. Oh, well, that's much more reasonable. So you have to really do your research carefully. Don't be the lowest t-shirt seller on the block. That's not necessary. I think the most important thing you can do is just have somewhat eye-catching designs, phrases that people like, or that are unique, and just run a really fair business with good customer service. Within Printify, you can choose different suppliers. Like they work with several printing companies. I try to choose companies that are in the United States and that have lots of star reviews, good reviews, and that have a really fast production time. You can also choose the one that's cheapest, but I don't. I don't want to be the cheapest. I want my customers to have good t-shirts and have them quickly. I want my customers to get them quickly. I don't choose the cheapest. In fact, I did when I first signed on with Printify. I chose the cheapest guy, and it wasn't great. I had a couple issues. So then I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm done with the cheapest because I'm going to make a little money no matter what. I want this to work well and to have my customers be really happy. So I recommend sorting those guys by production time and location, and not on cost or shipping cost. Because I think we all agree we would rather pay $1 or $2 more and get it quickly and have it be right the first time and all of those sorts of things. So don't feel like you have to be the cheapest t-shirt seller on the block. One last thing I want to tell you, there's so many cool things to tell you, is beware of, we want to run our businesses, like I said, in a really, we don't want to sin. If you find yourself tempted to sin in business, you actually might make money, but because we see that in the world, right? We see that sometimes the evil prosper, but you don't want to be that person. You don't want to run a business with sin and be reaping benefits from that. That's so gross. It's not Torah. So walk uprightly in every single aspect of your business. And when in doubt, be generous with customers, especially when in doubt, if there's a dispute or something you're not sure of. But in this t-shirt business, one thing to bear in mind is to not steal from other people's work. And there's 2 ways in which you might do that without even knowing it. So I want to bring this to your attention so you don't do that unintentional sin. One of them is with trademark. So I'm going to throw one out there. I just looked up, out of curiosity. I've never made a shirt that says Shalom y'all, but that's a really popular saying, right? Shalom y'all. This afternoon, out of curiosity, you can go to Google, look up trademark search, Google that, and you'll go to the USPTO or something, and where all the trademarks are registered. And Shalom y'all is trademarked. And I could look again. It'll show you exactly what it's trademarked for. Like maybe it's only trademarked for coffee mugs, but not t-shirts. But I believe it was trademarked for all those kinds of things, which is disappointing that someone paid money to get a trademark for Shalom y'all. But to me, it means it's off limits. I don't want to infringe on someone's trademark. Whether I think it's goofy that they trademarked it or not, they paid for it. It's their right. They own the trademark. And I ought not then to sell something that says Shalom y'all. And you should go and look up and study on all the ins and outs of that. I am not a lawyer. I am not giving you legal advice. I'm saying be careful and walk uprightly. And before you publish a listing that says something, check the trademark database. You would be surprised at what's on there. Like I would never have thought that someone trademarked Shalom y'all. And another place to be careful about stealing, intellectual property is with images, especially so like if you're using Canva, and let's say you want to have a daisy on your shirt, you can get a picture of a daisy in Canva. With every image in Canva, there's a little circle with an I, the lowercase letter I inside. Click that because it's the information and it will tell you more things about that image. And click on like license usage or something. I forget what it's called. And see if you're allowed to use that for something that you're selling. And again, look over Canva carefully, learn about their license usages. But I believe if the first 2 items are checked and not X, that's an okay thing to use on a t-shirt. But not all of them are checked. I very rarely come across like a clip art or a stock photo in Canva that's not allowed for a t-shirt. or a meme or whatever, but they are in there, and you don't want to accidentally use that on a t-shirt and then find out later that technically you stole that person's image that they did not give you permission to use that way. Like they might give you permission to use that daisy on a meme, right? Because you're not selling memes, you're just using memes for marketing purposes. But then when you sell a t-shirt with that daisy on, now you don't have permission to use it for that purpose. So there's different kinds of license usages for images and things like that. So look for that eye with a circle on it, or whatever stock photo program you use. Be very careful with that, and don't be tempted. If you're like, oh, I need that daisy, but it's off limits, then the father says, no, you don't need that daisy, because if you needed that daisy, it would be on limits and not off limits. So that's how I look at things. I don't let it, it doesn't bother me that some things are off limits. I just shrug my shoulders and say, okay, Father, that's not how you want me to make money. I'm going to do something different. And you pivot, because nobody wants dirty money. That's just gross. One more thing along those lines is don't copy someone else's work, even if it's not trademarked. You don't want to be someone who just steals other people's designs. That's just in poor taste. Maybe it's not illegal because it's not trademarked or whatever, but it's just in poor taste. If someone else made up a catchy saying or a funny saying, and you know that they invented that little thing, don't go making it on your stuff too. Make up your own funny thing, make up your own catchy saying and things like that, and the Father will honor that. It's not okay to go copy someone else's work. It is okay, I guess, like to go maybe to Etsy and just look at general t-shirt designs to see what is trendy and to be inspired by the latest trends and the latest design styles, but you don't ever want to directly copy someone's work. I mean, sometimes we'll just have similar designs and styles, but there shouldn't be exact copies of designs. And you will see it on Etsy. People copy each other's designs all the time, but just because other people do it doesn't mean it's right. So be unique, be creative, and I think you'll do better anyway if you have your own stuff. That's what people are looking for. They're looking for unique things that they've never seen before. Some things, you just say the same thing, but you say it in a different way, or with a different look, or with different styles and different fonts and all of those things that can make your design unique and special and probably better. So sometimes it's better to not even go look at your competition directly in your niche, because sometimes I think with design you could even accidentally copy someone because you saw something and you liked it, and then you accidentally sort of recreate it, and you don't want to do that. So don't even go look at your niche. So if you're selling golf t-shirts, just go look at cat t-shirts and don't look at golf t-shirts, so that you're not tempted to copy exactly, because that's just not cool. So with all that said, I hope that this gets you a big jump start and that you run with it and go with it. And I pray that it works for you. And if it doesn't work for you, I pray that the Father shows you your next step, because this isn't for everybody. And we will talk about other ways of working from home and making money, and I'll bring on some other really neat ladies on the podcast. And if you have questions, you can email me, amy@TorahSisters.com. I will not have time to answer every question directly in email, but I will collect them, and maybe sometimes we'll do a Q&A podcast where I take the most frequently asked questions and I will answer them on a podcast, because I'm sure this is going to bring out a lot of questions as you go through the process. Remember though, for technical things, I'm not the person to ask. You want to go and use the help. So if you have a technical question with Canva, you go ask Canva people. If you have a question with Printify, you go ask Printify people, because they can look at your account and help you there. I couldn't help you with that anyway. So don't ask me technical questions, more like strategy questions or big level vision questions, things like that. Not technical questions like, how do I make this font bigger? I can't help with that. So I don't want you to waste your time. I want you to get answers and go to the right place for that. And don't forget, please, if you would, use my affiliate links. If you're going to try any of this stuff out, go to TorahSisters.com/business, click on the business link, and you'll see all my favorite stuff that I use. So thank you, sisters.